Greetings guitar players and welcome to the Indian Classical Guitar Academy. Today we're going to look at part of Chapter 4 from the Essential Techniques for Indian Guitar course, which looks at right hand picking technique and incorporating the Shakir strings. I'm happy to announce that at the moment all of the courses are 40% off until the 21st of December. If you want to become a full member of the Academy, you can subscribe monthly to access new videos every month and live streams. Enjoy the video and see you next time. In terms of right hand technique on the guitar and the picking technique, there's a particular way of doing it which I really feel can help in this style. It's called downward pick slanting, and the idea here is that if you look at my hand right now, my right hand, you can see how this would be sort of playing level across the strings, like this. So I'm moving across as if all of the strings were equal, like this. Okay. But what I'd like you to try and do is just slant this downwards, and what this is going to do is it means that your downstroke will go into the plane of the strings. So I'm stroking my G string and I'm going straight through that, and then my plectrum is landing on the B string. So the B string is catching me, and this would be the same on any string. I would just pluck and then land on the next string. If you did pluck the top string, then you would just go a little bit further, but the main point that we're getting to here is actually the upstroke. The upstroke is the important part, because if I slant downwards, then my upstroke actually escapes out of the strings. So this means that I can go straight through this string, so down, up, without the other strings getting in the way. So after my upstroke, it actually becomes easier then to change to a different string. We're not doing much string changing in this course. We're really on one string most of the time. But for other styles of music, it's very important to be able to change string very quickly, so it's great for that. But here, it's actually just about the motion that we're going to be able to create. This kind of fast picking motion. You get a lot of energy by leaning into the string. Your downstroke actually has a slightly deeper sound. The other great thing about this is that we can actually choose to strike the D string at the same time. Now this is really a sitar concept, where you would actually play the open Sa, the open D string in this case, along with your main melody string. So especially fast phrases like this kind of thing, that's with the open D string, and you can hear the kind of emphasis that you're getting from playing those two strings together. So the downward pick slanting really helps with that. You can hit both of them on the down, and then the upstroke tends to just get the single string. So that's a really great aesthetic to add. It has more of an authentic sound. One of the main benefits of this is the motion that it enables you to do is a more sort of powerful motion, where actually the forearm is more involved. The wrist is still involved, but it's actually the forearm which is giving it more energy. Now this is pretty much the same way that you pluck on a Sarod, which is a kind of fretless Indian guitar, if you like. The Sarod, they also use a plectrum. So this kind of motion, which is that kind of speed picking, that's the kind of motion that you're getting. And with the downward pick slant, it just means that you're not worried about hitting other strings. You can have a clean strike at that string and a clean strike on the way out. In terms of how you hold the pick, there are lots of different ways that you can hold the pick. Different players do it in different ways. A way that I've found that really works is that I've actually got my thumb sort of across the center of the plectrum. So rather than holding it like this, the plectrum almost tells you that you might want to hold it like that, but I'm actually holding it like this. So the point is coming out at a right angle from my thumb, and the finger is going across most of the plectrum at this kind of angle. Now this is very personal, but I would definitely give it a try. the main reason I feel I've gravitated towards this is because it keeps the plectrum very secure with the minimal amount of pressure. So I'm not squeezing the pick, I'm actually just holding it very comfortably in this way. It doesn't seem to come out of place because there's so much of the thumb behind the pick. So that's absorbing any movement and just keeping it in the right place. With the plectrum coming out at this kind of right angle from the thumb as well, it just means I can get the plectrum in to the right angle, and the thumb is very relaxed, lining up with the instrument in this way. In terms of the string arrangement on the guitar, the system I'm using here is that the top 4 strings from the D, G, B, E, these are just in standard tuning, and I've taken away the A string and the D string on the bottom side, and I've replaced those with 2 high E strings, but they're tuned to D, so they're tuned to the tonic, which is D. They're also gauge 8, which means that they're lighter sounding. As there's 2 of them, you don't want them to become too overpowering. So these are going to have a lighter sound than the high E string. So these 2 high strings, tuned to D, these are called the Shakir strings. Now you have strings like this on almost every Indian instrument, and you use it to generate rhythms and to fill in little gaps in between phrases. So for example, I could play just a very simple phrase, and then play these Shakir strings in between, and it just allows me to space out the melody notes but keep the tonal centre going, and they've got such a different texture to them that it's a refreshing kind of sound. They sound so different from the main string. So these are the Shakir strings. That's how you'd use them in the alap section, just a single Shakir in between a musical line. As we move into the jaw, which is the rhythmic section of the alap, we're going to use these Shakir strings to establish a sense of rhythm. Now, just before we go into these patterns, it's important to understand the terminology that we use for the strokes. So first of all, just the regular strokes that we would say down, up in regular guitar playing. This is now going to be called da, ra, da, ra. It's important that we know this because when we look at the Shakir strings, we're going to use this terminology so it becomes a simple vocal system. So for example, this is chick. So Shakir is our chick, and then a da is the downstroke. We tend to use da, the downstroke, predominantly in the alap because it has a stronger sound to it. So here's the first Shakir pattern that we'll use in the jaw. It's very simple. Da, chick, da, chick, da, chick, and then we'll just move that around. That's a kind of foundation, and you'll expand that. It won't be as limited. You'll just do things around this sort of concept. But you're coming back to da, chick as a kind of foundation. start one of these courses, you can buy them individually or you can subscribe monthly to access all of them. For subscribers, there will be new content every month, including live streams where we can answer your personal questions and go into more detail about applying this material. So far we've covered raag yaman, raag bageshri, jog, hamsadwani, kafi and raag malkons, and there's much more to come. This body of work is a culmination of the 18 years experience I have as a guitar teacher, combined with the knowledge acquired through studying the sitar directly and then adapting that material using the guitar techniques that suit this style best. To create these courses and gather the most authentic material possible, I work closely with other Indian classical musicians such as Manish Pingle and Gurdane Riot. I'd like to give a special thanks to my guru Roopa Panesar, who has guided me in the creation of these courses. Much of the material has been adapted directly from my training with her. Also Shakir Khan, my guru, who's been inspiring me immensely and continues to shape how I approach the instrument and this incredible world of Indian classical music. So come and join us at the Indian Classical Guitar Academy to start this journey. The first 50 subscribers will get a reduced price every month for the whole duration of their membership. So come and be one of the first guitar players to realise what it means to be an Indian classical musician.